Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, this is JudgeSpektre. Now, my colleague DoccGero and I have recently begun a joint project entitled The Wild Space Wars, which we will discuss various things about the Star Wars franchise that we don't like particularly. Now, his first video is already up, and for some very good inside information about what was really going on behind the scenes in Star Wars, you should definitely check out his video. In fact, I posted a link to it in the description of my video for your convenience. Now, rather than actually discuss anything behind the scenes oriented, I'm going to jump directly into my gripes about the Star Wars films. Now, these problems begin with Return of the Jedi. At a young age, this was the film that I liked the most out of the original three. But looking back on it now, it's hard to view it as anything more than a kid's film. Now, there was always childish humor in all of the Star Wars films. Jokes, wackiness, and whatnot, but there were very adult themes going on behind the scenes. And I just can't view this film as anything more than just almost a joke. I don't really hate it through and through, but as far as Star Wars films go, it's the one I like the least out of the original trilogy. But my dislike of that film is nothing compared to the problems that I had with the 1997 re-release of the films, the Star Wars Special Edition. Now, the main problems I had with the Special Edition is just that they supposedly enhanced it with all new digital computer effects. The problem is that at the time that they were done, the computer effects, even at the 1997 period, did not look very good. They are very plastic and synthetic looking, and it's painfully obvious when something has been enhanced or a new scene has been added just because of how fake it looks. It's pretty bad, to say the least. If you require an example, you need look no further than a scene from Episode 4 New Hope, which was cut in the original version. Han Solo and Jabba the Hutt in the hangar on Tatooine. Now, I still to this day have absolutely no idea why Lucas decided to put this scene back in. It was originally shot with a live actor playing Jabba, and they basically removed the live actor and put a computer-generated Jabba the Hutt in his place and carried the scene out. Now, some fans may argue that this scene is necessary, but it's not necessary at all, even in the least. We already established the fact that Han Solo had a price on his head and that he needed to pay off Jabba the Hutt. So this scene was completely unnecessary. And if anything, it does nothing but detract from Jabba's first appearance in Return of the Jedi. And apart from that, the version of Jabba that they created looks completely laughable. I mean, it looked bad even at that time period. I was chuckling when I was looking at it the first time. It's not helped much by the fact that in the scene Han Solo actually walks around the actor playing Jabba, which means that in the scene they have him step on Jabba's tail. And it's at that point that they should basically have thrown the scene out the door and have scrapped it entirely, because that's nothing more than a bad joke, to say the least. Also, another problem is the ending of Return of the Jedi. Now, technically, this isn't in the 1997 version. It was in the 2005, if I'm not mistaken, version that was released on DVD. They basically removed Sebastian Shaw from the ending and replaced him with Hayden Christensen. Now, this goes directly into a problem I have with the way Lucas seems to be doing the Star Wars films. You would think that Lucas would have made the prequels knowing what he laid out in the classic trilogy and would make films that would complement those and expand on them. But no, Lucas basically just made the prequels any way he saw fit and decided to go back to the classic trilogy and add and subtract things to match what he did in the prequels. That is completely backwards. And speaking of the prequel films, where does one even begin describing these? Now, for sake of saving time and effort, I'm not even going to go into a complete review summary of what I thought about these films. I'm instead going to give you a very brief rundown of what I thought of the prequel trilogy as a whole. I really hate each and every one of these three films, pretty much from beginning to end credits. But seemingly just to tease and mock us, Lucas actually put a few scenes in each film that were really good. almost to say that, hey, this is what these films could have been like all the way through if I'd bothered to actually write and direct them properly. But I guess I could go slightly a little bit more in depth. One of the main characters that I actually had a problem with in the prequel films was Yoda. Now, Yoda in the original trilogy was not only a great accomplishment in terms of puppetry, he was a great character, an interesting one. But in the prequel trilogy, it seems to be more about what he could actually do with a lightsaber as opposed to him actually having depth as a character. And on that note, I still find it funny that a lot of fans say he, quote, defeated Dooku and Sidious in lightsaber combat, when in fact if you actually go back and look at those duels, he at no point defeated either one of them. He fought Dooku evenly until the fight came to a draw. Maybe Yoda was more powerful, but that's sort of irrelevant. The bottom line is nobody won. And secondly, when he actually fought Sidious, once again, the fight ended in a draw. The best Yoda did in that fight was countering the Force lightning, maybe swinging the momentum of the fight in his favor slightly. Actually, come to think of it, he came closer to actually owning Sidious before the fight actually took place when he first entered the chamber, when he force pushed him across the room. Although I think that was done more or less to get a laugh out of the audience, although I certainly didn't find it very funny. Especially when I heard this.
Not if anything to say about it. I have. At an end, your rule is. And not short enough it was.
When did Yoda turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger all of a sudden with these cheesy one-liners? I mean, seriously, this isn't very funny. I mean, I wonder what Arnold himself would have to say about that if he heard it.
Talk to the hand.
Well put. Yeah, Yoda's character wasn't very interesting in these films, and that's just a bigger problem in these prequel films. There aren't too many characters that were actually characters, and that's another problem Lucas had. He was great at coming up with great and interesting characters, but he was terrible in terms of developing them and giving them depth or anything. This was especially a problem during Order 66 in Episode 3, when all the Jedi were being exterminated. Now, I actually didn't feel anything in this scene because all the Jedi that I saw getting killed, I had never seen before, or they had just been standing in the background of the last 3 films, and I didn't know them, I didn't care about them. The clone troopers may as well have been shooting cardboard boxes because it pretty much had the same effect for me. Now, to be honest, I could go at this all day just listing a million problems I had, but I'll leave that for another video. In this one, I think I've said quite enough for now. Now, I do intend to do more episodes in this series, as well as I do have several other projects that are in development currently, so definitely keep an eye out on my channel for that. Until next time, this is JudgeSpektre, signing off.